Hello, once again, this is Antonio, and I'm coming at you with another exciting video. I want to say this, and I know it's going to be a controversial statement, but I think the family system in America has been permanently broken. And I think that parents, they use courts as the sit around table, or you know how, like in kindergarten, used to sit around, everybody sit crisscross applesauce so somebody could read you a book. And when I was younger, they'd pull out the projector and all that kind of stuff, and they put the projector on the wall so everybody can, be together and be told what to do. People are not sticking together no more. People will procreate with each other just to break up and have a step parental parent step in and raise that child. We don't stick together. We don't communicate. The family system has been permanently broken. You know how you can brag and say my parents been together 40 and 50 years. That's no longer. If your parents be together 5 years, that's a brag. You could be a braggart, nowadays. My parents been together 5 years. Oh, brag on us. Throw a party. Now people be divorced in 3 years, do a divorce party, become promiscuous, have other kids, and she stay over here, he stay over there, and that's just the way it goes. Very, very controversial. I think this co-parenting BS is just BS because I believe that the nucleus of the family should be in one house, you know, one house. I don't care if the dad sleep downstairs, mom sleep upstairs. I don't care. I think that everybody should be in one house. This co-parenting stuff, if you procreated with each other, you need to stick together. I think it's too easy to get out of relationships. Oh, I made a mistake. I don't want to be here. Now, if you're going through the abuse, I definitely understand that. But I just want to rant a little bit. That's just how I feel. You're going to put it in the comments. You're going to tell me about your life. You're going to tell me co-parenting definitely worked for you. And it's the best thing since sliced bread. No, biblically, if you think that on that regard, it was the nucleus of the family. But nevertheless, this video, I'm going to keep making them. Two parents cannot agree where the child should attend school. Mom want the school over here. Dad say no way. I'm 9 miles away from the school in the district he was at before. I want my child in that district. Let's see how it's going to go. So they had to get their mouthpieces. You know what a mouthpiece is? Your lawyer. Dad got his mouthpiece. Mom got her mouthpiece so they could speak on each other's behalf. Somebody got to get paid from if you can't agree. You can't pick up the phone and say, hey, I want Tommy over here. Yes, I think Tommy should be there. So if you can't agree in that regard, guess what's going to happen? You got to figure it out. But nonetheless, this is Antonio with Team Tiggio. Let's dive into the content, and then we'll be back in the end.
My apologies. The last hearing ran over just a little, but we were at the point of making final rulings, and that needed to be done.
No worries.
Do we have everyone we need?
Yes, believe so.
This is in the District Court of Ellis County. Ellis County, Kansas, case number 18 DM 284. It is Abba Plant through Matthew Goslin versus Nikki Plant. May I have an announcement of appearances, please?
May it please the court, Your Honor, the plaintiff Shane Goslin appears in person and by and through his attorney Kip Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please, the court. Ms. Plant appears in person with retained counsel Donald Anderson, Great Bend, Kansas.
Oh, my apologies, Mr. Goslin. I didn't see the Shane up in the upper part of that.
No problem.
We are on for a motion regarding where the child is going to start kindergarten.
Correct, Your Honor.
1 second here. And Mr. Johnson, I've seen your motion. And there's also, Mr. Johnson, you have submitted some documents that you wish to use as exhibits by email.
Yeah, possibly, Judge, a couple of maps.
Okay. And Mr. Anderson, you've also submitted some documents via email.
Just showing um, the child is pre-enrolled in Plainville. Ms. Plant did that and invited Mr. Goslin to come with her. I think a couple weeks ago. How long ago was that?
It was on it was 20, or it was about a week ago.
About a week or so. It sounds like end of July. Also, there's a letter from the school district about the transportation and how the transportation would work as far as the child would be able to be bused by the Plainville school bus routes, whether he was with his mother at his mother's residence or at his father's residence in Bogue.
And I'll let you use your exhibits and explain them as necessary. I just want to make sure you are both aware that there was emails.
Yeah, I received the one from Mr. Johnson's office and I included him on mine, so I assume he got mine.
I got Mr. Anderson's as well, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Johnson, how would you like to proceed with your motion?
I suppose we'll present evidence. We'll have I'll call Mr. Goslin, Your Honor.
Okay. And Mr. Shane Goslin, would you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear and or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the penalties for perjury in the state of Kansas.
Yes.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. I assume you're in Mr. Johnson's office?
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead.
Please state your full name,
Shane Goslin.
and you're the plaintiff in this matter,
Yes.
and you're the father of Abba Plant,
Yes.
and you filed a motion regarding regarding the court to determine where he should start kindergarten.
Yes.
Now, you were present when we had a final hearing in this matter,
Correct.
and at that final hearing, the court directed the parties to try and agree on where Abba should go to school.
Correct.
Since that hearing, have you been able to talk with Miss Plant all about where your son should go to school?
I have attempted to, and she just doesn't reply and just says he's going to Plainville School District.
No, the court didn't specifically order that Abba go to the Plainville School District, did he?
No,
Now, originally, when we had our hearing, you had asked for Hill City,
yes,
but the court gave reasons why it didn't think he should go to Hill City. Do you recall that?
not the reasons, but just, I don't recall the reasons, I guess, why he wouldn't go to Plainville City, but
But you're asking that he continue in the school district that he went to preschool in?
correct.
And what school district is that?
DeMar,
And how long was he in the pre-K program?
2 years.
Now, explain to the court why you feel that your son should continue in the DeMar School District.
Well, it's a middle point between Nikki and myself is the middle point. DeMar would be Poco DeMar School District. Other reasons, including just recently, Nikki confessing and opening up to me that her boyfriend, Cal Holloway, just went to rehab again through their church for 30 some days for the way he was drinking and how he was talking and speaking to her and how he cannot hold down a job. I find pulling the child out of the school district to put him in another one at this time would be, without knowing more of what's going on, is not stable for the child or even in his best interest.
And at the time of the hearing, you had concerns about DeMar School District shutting down.
Yes,
Have you gained information about the DeMar School District?
they may or may not in the future consolidate with Logan, Kansas.
But it's not their intentions to close.
Correct.
Now, does Abba have friends in the district?
Yes, he does. Over the 2-year period, he had made several friends through many of the grades.
Are there any of Abba's close friends going to continue to go to DeMar?
Yes.
And who are those?
Ethan, oh shoot, the 2 little girls, and there's another little boy for sure that will be attending there that SJ's gotten along with really well in the past.
So 2 girls and a boy?
Yes,
So he has 3 friends that he's established
that's just in his grade.
that will be in his grade and will be going to the DeMar School District.
Yes.
Do you feel that keeping him in the DeMar School District will give him some stability?
Absolutely.
You think it is important for him to have stability?
Yes, schedules and stability.
And how far away are you from DeMar?
9 miles.
So if something were to happen at school, you'd be 9 miles away.
Correct.
Now, how far are you away from Plainville School?
26, 27 miles.
Do you know how far Miss Plant is from DeMar?
This plant from DeMar. It's 18 from Plainville to DeMar. And I think they said, 12 or 14 to where she lives from the last court hearing. So that'd be right at 27, 28 miles. Is that right? And then she works in Russell at a print shop.
Do you know what her hours are?
They seem to fluctuate very much.
But during the school day, she would be in Russell.
Yes, there's lots of times she's asked me to meet later so she could work longer and meet for the exchange of our son an hour or 2 hours later most of the time.
And when you try to talk to Miss Plant about where Abba should go to school, what was the procedure that you used?
I gave her a few reasons on why I didn't think it was a good idea for our son to go to school in Plainville, including, this is where Nikki originated getting hooked on methamphetamines and later in life. There's, all the travel fees. She wouldn't even acknowledge that, the extreme travel fees that may be involved with all of this. Understanding that she is only driving 20 miles one way at times. And I've offered to help out with things. And I've also given her gas money in the past to help level every balance out.
And he decided to pre-enroll Abba in Plainville, even though she knew that you were not in agreement with that.
Correct. That happens quite frequently.
Do you think it's important for Abba to have a consistent school life if his home life may be chaotic?
Yes.
And do you have concerns about?
Your Honor, at this point, I'm going to object to all this. We've already litigated all of this. We're wasting everybody's time. This is not new information. We spent 3 or 4 days in November.
It is new information. Haven't
Wait,
gotten
hey,
there yet.
counsel, don't do that. Mr. Anderson, make your objection. Mr. Johnson, don't argue over the top of him. Wait till he objects. If there needs to be a response, I'll ask for it.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Mr. Anderson, what's your objection?
My objection is all these issues have already been litigated. We've taken care of this. The only thing for the court to determine is where the child should go to school, since they couldn't come to a decision. Nobody moved. There's no difference in any of the information. These are all the same concerns Mr. Goslin had before in November. None of this is new.
Well, the hearing was in November 20th of 23, and November 21st. I've got fairly extensive notes from all the witnesses' testimony from that hearing, but the court will allow the parties to recap some of the information as long as it doesn't get too unwieldy. So with that explanation, I'm going to overrule your objection. Continue, Mr. Johnson.
I just wanted to go into new information, Your Honor, and Mr. Goslin touched on it. Is it your understanding, Mr. Goslin, that Ms. Plant's significant other has gone to treatment since the hearing?
Yes, and my understanding was in May of June of this year is when Miss Plant had told me about it.
And she also indicated that one of the reasons why he went to treatment was because of the way he was treating her.
And drinking, correct. And they went through a church to send him somewhere because they couldn't afford to do it. So the church paid for it, is what Miss Plant had told me.
And does that give you concerns about the stability of his home life?
Absolutely. Not being able to hold down a job and drinking and not getting along with the spouse. Yes, it does. There's lots of concern.
Let's see. I'm going to hand, since we have everybody has copies of the exhibits, can we just address the exhibits? Or do you want me to share them over Zoom, Judge?
However you want to do it.
Okay, I'm
If
just good.
Mr. Anderson is okay with you referring to the exhibits?
Yeah, I'm fine. I believe them to be the same ones with the same distances that we took up in November. Again, nobody's moved.
Okay. Well, I was just putting it in for the court's assistance. Let me hand you Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. You recognize that?
Yes,
And what is that exactly?
that is the bus routes for Plainville School District.
And Plainville will pick people up at Zurich, correct?
Yes,
So
the
you'd have,
map shows a mile west of Zurich or east of Zurich, but there's a letter stating that they do now go into Zurich.
okay. Move to Plaintiff's Exhibit 1.
Any objection?
There you are. I stipulate to the mission of both the exhibits that Mr. Johnson wants to use.
Okay.
And Plaintiff's Exhibit 2 is just shows where Bogue is, Zurich and Plainville. And where does Miss Plant live?
6 miles east and 7 north is the way it looks.
Of Plainville?
Plainville.
No other questions, Judge.
And we're on Exhibit 2. Have you marked that or not?
I didn't mark it.
It's off of our road and between 23 and 24 road.
Okay. If you go to Plaintiff's Exhibit 1, if you look at our road,
Hang on just a second. Okay, R road.
yeah, and we're on our road,
I believe it's between road 23 and road 24. Just a little bit down where it says USD 271 for Stockton.
that's where you believe her house is.
Yes.
Okay.
Not having any luck finding our road up here.
Can you see USD 271 on the exhibit?
Yeah,
If you go down to the next road running east and west,
okay, there's our road.
yeah, and it's between 23rd and 24th Road.
Okay. And how far is that from Plainville? That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's
7, 8,
12.7
9.
miles. Your Honor.
Pardon me?
12.7 miles per
10.
MapQuest.
Okay.
Or Google Maps, maybe.
Okay, any additional questions based on my question, Mr. Johnson?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any other questions, Mr. Johnson?
No, Your Honor.
Ross, Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, briefly. So, Mr. Goslin, if Abba was to stay in the same school district, how far of a drive is it from you to drop him off or pick him up at school?
9 miles both way, I believe it is.
Okay, 9 miles. And what is the drive from Miss Plant?
You said round trip,
Just one way.
but one way. So hers would be 13, so 20 miles.
From her home to DeMar?
No, to Zurich, where the bus will pick him up was established that the bus will still pick him up in Zurich, Kansas, like last year.
Okay. So 20 miles to Zurich. And if Abba went to school in Plainville, how far would you have to drive to Zurich?
Yes.
Yeah, how far would that be?
What did we say? I was 21, I believe.
Okay, so the same distance, roughly the same distance you're wanting her to drive, correct?
Correct.
All right. No further questions. Thank you.
I don't have any other witnesses, Judge.
And no redirect, Mr. Johnson? No redirect.
Oh, no redirect, Your Honor. And no other witnesses.
Mr. Anderson, do you intend to call witnesses?
Yeah, we call Miss Plant, Your Honor.
Okay, would you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear and or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the penalties for perjury in the state of Kansas.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're currently in the state of Kansas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're currently in Great Bend in my office, Your Honor, just for the
Yeah.
record. State your name.
Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
I apologize. Thank you. Please state your name.
Nikki Plant,
And you are the mother of Abba Plant.
correct. Yes.
You always sat here and heard the testimony from Mr. Gosling, correct?
Yes.
Did Mr. Gosling try to contact you about where the child would go to school?
He just objected to what I was. He just told me he was not going to go to school to Plainville when I asked him if he would want to go to enroll with me. And then he also brought up a lot of nonsense that wasn't even about our child. He brought up like Allegedly I used drugs in high school when I never used drugs in high school. He tried to use that as an excuse to why he shouldn't go to school there.
Okay.
And so I just left that, and I didn't have a conversation with him because I didn't want it to go away from the child.
Okay, so you did try to discuss enrolling him in Plainville. He refused, and his reasoning behind that was because he believed you to use drugs in high school there.
Well, yes.
Okay. And you guys were pretty good friends in high school?
No. I don't even think we would even be in high school together.
You did, point being, you didn't know him in high school, correct?
No.
Okay. So as far as you know, he didn't know anything about you in high school, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. What we've emailed, Your Honor, page 1 of the email attachment. Ms. Plant, do you recognize what is page 1 of our attachment?
Yeah, that's from Chris Reinhardt.
Okay, and what is it about?
It's stating the bus transfer for picking up off of from Zurich, and also they were stating that the bus driver does live in Bogue, Kansas, and that's the bus. Just say that they would pick up Abba from.
Okay, so if he were to go to Plainville and he was with his fathers, he could, at a bare minimum, he could be picked up in Zurich by the Plainville bus route.
Yes.
Okay, and then when he's with you, where would he be picked up at?
He'd be picked up from our house.
Okay. And then what's exhibit number 2? I don't know if anybody can read, but if you zoom in on it, it just shows the date of on 3/26/20.
3/26/2000.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
It's enrollment date.
Enrollment 3 was in March. That was months ago.
Oh, that was his pre-enrollment. Sorry.
Okay, that just shows that she did sign him up for pre-enrollment at that time, not knowing what they were going to do. And then finally, the final 3 pages are the pre-enrollment printout from.
And that's his final enrollment.
I'm trying to see the date. I'm not sure what date. It doesn't have a specific date, but it shows enrollment for Abba if allowed to go to the Plainville school system. The fact that he is pre-enrolled there and is available. So we'd offer to admit those exhibits 1, 2, and 3, or A, B, and C. However, we're doing that for today, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
1, 2, and 3 are admitted, although I cannot read number 2.
Yeah, I can't either.
Yeah, I mean,
I tried
honestly,
to enlarge it, I still can't read it.
it's really hard.
So
I mean, I have no problem if we don't admit that one since it's eligible. We'll just do 1 and 2, Your Honor, just for the purposes of the record. I don't think makes sense to do something that nobody can read.
Again, no objection, Judge.
I think it's just a receipt showing that he was pre-enrolled, but that's, like I said, I don't think it really makes a difference one way or the other, whether it's because it's so hard to read. That's all we have, Your Honor. That's all the questions I have for now. Mr. Johnson, obviously, can proceed with his cross.
Mr. Johnson,
Did you know that Mr. Goslin objected to Abba being enrolled in Plainville?
He never stated that until I asked him to go to enrollment with me. He also got mailed a copy of his Abba's pre-enrollment paper and mailed to him from the school themselves of the pre-enrollment, and also Dana Friend, the kindergarten preschool teacher, which was my first grade teacher, also texted him and messaged him about enrollment, and he never responded to her.
But he had told you that he didn't agree to Abba going to Plainville, correct?
Yes.
And you called him or told him about the pre-enrollment on the day that you went, correct?
No, he got the pre-enrollment package for pre-enrollment, and that was on that 320.
Okay, well, wait a minute. You say he got. What do you mean by he got? Did you give him something?
No, he got it mailed to him from the school.
But you don't know if he received it or not, do you?
I guess not.
Okay. But you didn't give him anything.
No.
And did you talk to him about where Abba should go to school?
I tried to have a conversation with him, but he was going way off subject about our son. It was always back directed towards me and about my family, what we were doing, and it was nothing about actually our son.
But you didn't file a motion to have the court determine where he should go to school, correct?
I was trying, but it did not proceed.
And you just enrolled him in a school, correct?
I did enroll him, so he did not miss the enrollment date.
I don't have any other, oh, well, no, that's outside cross. I don't have any other questions, Judge.
Any redirect, Mr. Anderson?
No, Your Honor.
Your next witness.
I have no further witnesses, Your Honor. We just asked the court to take judicial notice of its prior statements and I guess the prior testimony from the November hearing. The final order of that hearing stating that the parties were to try to agree to a school, and if they were unable to, the court would decide for them, and stated that it was a court's inclination to send the child to the midway point of Plainville. I think that's still the most realistic place for the child to go to school based on, I don't know that Mr. Goslin and Ms. Plant will ever agree on anything. So to hopefully avoid hearings every few months, we're gonna have to get court orders to take care of it all.
Anything further, Mr. Johnson?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, and I certainly am not wanting to disparage either school. I think he's going into kindergarten this year, correct?
Correct,
sir.
Your Honor.
Yeah, so I assume both of them can adequately handle kindergarten. I have two concerns, and they're the same concerns I had following our hearing on November 20th and November 21st of 23. One is whether or not DeMar will remain open. And you're talking about, well, they'll consolidate with Logan. Well, Logan is a pretty fair piece of drive itself from DeMar up to Logan. Secondly, I have a huge concern if Cale Holloway in any way ever drives ABBA. He cannot drive ABBA, period, end of story, in any way, shape, or form. You understand that, Ms.
Yes,
Plant?
sir.
Okay, he can never drive him anywhere. Okay. And frankly, Mr. Goslin, if the child is going to school in Plainville with the bus service directly from her house to Plainville, or from Plainville out to Zurich, or if the bus driver does in fact live in Bogue, you can talk to the bus driver. He may be able to drive him from your house in. But if there has to be any driving, I would prefer the driving to be done by Mr. Shane Goslin. I think it's safer for ABBA if you're doing the driving. And that is what tips the scale for me. And you may disagree with my logic, but I prefer you to do the driving instead of the defendant. And certainly Cale Holloway can never drive ABBA.
Right.
Okay. And with the uncertainty of, how long tomorrow will be open, I certainly don't want to start the child and then have to change mid-year sometime. In the testimony we had back in November, I think either school would be fine. And so the tipping point for me is to make sure that the defendants are not driving Abba to and from school. And so I find you much more reliable for the driving purposes, and to ensure that that happens, Plainville is the better option. He's starting kindergarten. He'll make friends wherever he's at. And I think there's a better chance he'll have stability through Plainville. Now, if you run into problems, certainly you can file a motion with the court and we'll bring it back. But where he's just starting kindergarten, I think he'll do fine making good friends in Plainville, at the kindergarten in Plainville. And so with the parties not being able to agree, the court's going to order the child to be put into Plainville for kindergarten. For my own reasoning, that ensures that any driving to and from school is done by Mr. Goslin and not by Nikki Plant, and certainly not by Cale Holloway. And Mr. Goslin, if the bus driver does live in Bogue, then that's the best of all worlds. Then he can just ride with him from Bogue straight on into Plainville and back. But you'll have to find that out. Okay.
My understanding.
Now, as far as the mileage, I don't
take the bus.
recall if we gave her an allowance on that regarding any child support.
We don't really have, we don't really have a child support order in place, Judge.
Do we need to get a child support order in place? Because I couldn't find one in the file either.
The court wants us to exchange income information. We will.
Now, we had the temporary orders on the petition to determine paternity. I'm not sure you've ever had a final order determining. You've got the December 26th of 2018.
I think we have an order to determine paternity.
That had temporary orders. Okay, yeah, Shane Matthew Goslin is the natural father, so that's been done. And then you have had temporary orders. We had a child support worksheet that was admitted in March of 19, and this all predates May. But I'm not sure there was ever an order that came of that. I don't see one in the file.
Let me see here.
The
Yeah.
driving is now all going to fall on Mr. Goslin. We should look at a legitimate reimbursement. once he determines exactly how the driving is going to take place, whether he's going to drop him at Zurich, whether the bus driver does in fact leave from Bogue.
It is believed that he leaves from Bogue, but it is not in a school bus. It's in a personal vehicle, and he drives all the way to Plainville to get a bus and goes back to Zurich.
No, he said he was willing to drive the bus all the way back to Bogue when you had him in your.
I know Siegel Irby very well. He lives a block and a half from me. The
Okay.
bus is never there.
Well, he said he could.
You can,
to set.
yeah, I don't want you to just argue back and forth. So Mr. Shane Goslin, you can check into that. There needs to be a legitimate reimbursement for the mileage. I don't know if the parties want to come to an agreement or if we need to do a formal child support worksheet in order. I'm not sure you have a child support in place.
I think the best way to do it, Your Honor, is just do a formal child support order worksheet. I mean, there's been the majority of the travel has been done by Miss Plant up for school the last couple of years in preschool, and there's been no reimbursement. But we can, I assume, backdate that and get that figured out if we want to start. So I think just the best way to do it is just get a formal child support worksheet in place and get it taken care of in that manner.
I'll let council see if they can work something out. If not, let's get a motion on file and go from there, okay?
Okay, Judge.
But if you can work it out, work it out,
All right.
okay? Anything further today, Mr. Johnson,
No, Your Honor. Would you like me to prepare the journal entry?
please? Anything further today, Mr. Anderson?
No, Your Honor, thank you very much.
Do you need anything, any additional findings, or do you need to put anything else on your record, Mr. Johnson?
I don't believe so, Judge.
Any additional findings or anything else you need to put on the record, Mr. Anderson?
No, Your Honor, thank you for inquiring.
Okay. Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
And again, I encourage you, please keep the best interest of ABBA first and foremost whenever you deal with one another.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
For tuning into this case. This is a very, very petty case, but hey, somebody got to make these videos. Somebody got to keep you entertained. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I don't have to agree or disagree with you. I'm going to give my feedback, my commentary, my likes, dislikes, but that's your life. You're going to live your life the way you live it. If you think co-parenting is the best thing since sliced bread, by golly, George, do co-parenting. In my mind, I think the nucleus of the family should be together. I think people should be able to deal with each other. But the problem is so many people are taking their traumas and dramas in relationship after relationship and abuse and compounded interest of this stuff that don't really matter. Addictions, controlship, narcissistic ways. I don't care how long you be together, you probably will learn something about each other every day. But the child is going to suffer. And guess what? These children are never going to be children forever. As long as you feed them, clothe them, house them, shelter them, they're going to grow up. And sometimes kids get away from both of their crazy parents. Now, how you do like those apples? But nonetheless, this is Antonio with Team Tiggio. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how you felt about this case. This was the standoff at the OK Corral. Mom wanted the child in this school district. Dad wanted the child in another school district. As a matter of fact, in the school district that mom had the child in, he thought that that school district was going to shut down completely, that they were going to merge. So he was like, hey, let's put the child in a more structured environment. I think people need to know more about each other before you start mixing your gene pool. People are just procreating. and they don't even know each other. You know, some people, I have done videos on this channel where people don't even know each other's last name. I have done videos on this channel where dads have been lied to thinking that the child has his last name and the child got another dude last name that's not even the father. Now you got to jump through hoops. You got to jump rope, do a cartwheel, hopscotch, and everything else just to get your child the name that they're supposed to have, just because you didn't know each other in the first place. But nonetheless, this is Antonio Team Tiggio. Please like, comment, subscribe as we're going to keep pumping out these videos. And once again, we will see you in the next video.